What's up guys, it's Magaz here connecting you to Airsoft. Today I'm making the follow-up video to a previous video I made talking over my camo collection. In that video it was predominantly smocks, shirts, parkas, tops, anything upper body related, with the inclusion of a sneak peek at the Dragon Tropical USV gear Forbidden Cries. Today we're going to be taking a look entirely at pantaloons. Different cuts, different styles, from your standard sort of British issue style, US BDU cut, and then we're going to go into some more exciting things like cry cut and other enhanced combat trouser cut trousers. Take a shot every time I say trouser or pants in this video because it's going to be said a lot, and by the end of it you will be absolutely fucking hammered. Good times for all. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button because there's going to be more content like this and a lot of other content. A lot of the pantaloons that you will see in this video have their own review videos in the Pants Party playlist, which will be on screen at the end of the video if you want to see that. And there's a bunch of pants in here that are currently undergoing the review process to be included in that series as well. So stick around and you'll see plenty of exciting content, and if Airsoft's your thing, the majority of the stuff on the channel is Airsoft related, hence my intro at the beginning. So yeah, let's get up to our nuts in combat trouser guts. So we're going to start with these Rhodesian Brushstroke Silkies from Gibraltar Trading Co. They're a very nice silky fabric which are internally lined like swim shorts, and that's also the same kind of fabric, so if you're going commando, it feels lovely and very pleasant against your nuts. They're great for training, running about, knocking about, or just lounging about the house in. Or if you want to be that more sort of slick and silky Cellar Scout, this might be the way to go. Coming at about 30 to 35 pounds, really well made, and I'd love to pick some up in some more exciting DPM flavors. So Gibraltar Trading Co. Let's do some DPM flavors. Let's throw them over there now. Take a look at these guys. These are the River Island swim shorts. I picked these up because they were a weird DPM variant. They look kind of cool. Nothing really to write home about. They're just default swim shorts. They don't feel quite as nice as the Silkies. Inside they have this net sort of ball strangler, which is great, I guess. A few pockets, but yeah, I picked them up for about £2, so not bad. Get them at my site. Next up, we have Oman DPM shorts from Boohoo Man. So like I mentioned in the previous video, I do have a few Oman pieces in my collection. This one being one that I wear quite a lot when it's super hot. I've got back from work, I like to throw these on. They're super lightweight. They cost me a £5 in Boohoo Man's sale, and they are made from legit Oman DPM fabric, which is interesting. I think the speculation here, the company that makes the fabric on contract for the Oman MOD, I guess, made a batch that wasn't legit enough for the MOD. The MOD are like, burn that shit and start again. And they're like, yeah, we'll totally burn this shit. Without a doubt, mate. No worries, it's getting burned as we speak. It's on fire. Johnny, put that thing all the way in the fire this time, you know.
Hey, Cass, put that thing all the way in the fire. We don't want it getting up again. All right, I got you.
And they kept it, and then obviously sold it off to the highest bidders. And I can only assume that Boohoo and Boohoo Man got hold of a bunch of the fabric and made some slightly mediocre combat trouser aesthetic looking things, and then some trousers that kind of look like they tried to follow the cry or enhanced cut, which are also quite shite, and these shorts. So my G3 cut trousers, which we'll talk about later on in the video, came from the same place. But yeah, they're very poorly made. The stitching is as you would expect from a Boohoo product. They are terribly put together, but they're lightweight, nice. They cost me a £5, and yeah, Oman DPM, fucking love it. Next up, we have a classic piece that I think at this point most people have in the collection. Desert Night Grid over trousers, or Desert Night Camouflage, Desert Night Grid pattern, however you want to name it. Everybody calls it something a little bit different. Night Grid. These are a very simple combat trouser. For those of you who don't know, I assume 90% of people watching this video know what this pattern is, know what it was developed for. But the TLDR, if you are new to camo collecting, or if you've just come across this video at random, if the algorithm's just like, my cat is over there eating a fly. That's not what the algorithm's like. My cat is over there eating a friggin' fly. It's gone now, I can't even save the fly, she swallowed it. Cool. So, if the algorithm's just brought you here because it thinks you want to see some camo, good times, stick around, you'll see some more. So these are from Desert Storm, the first Gulf War. The way I understand it is the Iraqi army had Russian surplus night vision optics, and they were rumored to be a very early gen that could be confused by strange shapes, i.e. shit like that. So the US government were like, what we'll do, we'll put together this camouflage pattern that will break up the outline against these early night vision optics, and then we'll issue this as over trousers and an over parka for nighttime operations. So basically you'll be wearing your normal DVDUs, and then you'll throw these on over the top to camouflage yourself at night. As it turns out, it did not work, but they were still issued and they were still worn at night as just like an extra layer when it's a bit cooler, and just by people who wanted to be fashionable as fuck. It came back into trend a few years ago. A lot of people have done some really cool stuff, like, oh, the cat that a minute ago I had to cut this video short because a random cat was screaming outside the house and I had to go and make sure it hadn't been run over. It's back outside the house now, attacking some kids. So if you hear any kids or a cat screaming, that's what's going on. Anyway, night grid came back onto the scene pretty heavily a couple of years ago, and a few companies started doing some really cool shit in it, including the Redback company. The Redback company have this. This is a Cierzo shirt from TRC Outdoors, or the Redback company. It's basically like a zoot suit. Run a side quest here. So I've got two of these. I've just pulled my string into a ridiculous knot. Fucking hell, dude, that cat! What is he doing? Okay, so you might have heard a car pipping like fuck then over the mic. The cat nearly just got run over. What the fuck is going on? Neighbours are shouting at each other. Crazy business outside. Anyway, TRC Outdoors Cierzo shirt. So basically this is kind of like what they used to make out of old parachute material. It is a windbreaker overshirt that's super lightweight and packable. But yeah, the first ones they brought out were in like a multi-terrain pattern, I think an olive green, and then night grade. So obviously I bought this night grade one. It's right before the precipice of night grid becoming cool again, when like the only way you could get night grid was something like this, or buying the issued stuff, modifying it yourself, or going like the Roman Kermaz or the Sunshine Works Customs, or Han Latassa with his crust cut parkas, all them sort of guys doing custom gear. But anyway, I keep this in my mini map all the time, just in case it rains or in case it gets windy. It's not waterproof, but it helps keep the rain out a little bit. But it definitely helps with the wind in colder weather. I've got the TRC hat as well, the Timmy, in night grid and in tiger strap, but I don't have the night grid one at hand right now. I think it's in the loft, so you're not looking at that right now. Back to the topic at hand. These guys are super basic over trousers. There's no button, no fly. It's just literally a Velcro closure over the fly, some string to tie the waist. The pockets aren't actually pockets, they're just pass-through pockets to get to the DBDU pockets underneath. The back does have actual pockets, but they're nothing really to write home about. Simple, non-expandable square pocket with a square of Velcro to basically keep it closed. And then where you'd have your cargo pockets, it's another pass-through point to get to your trousers underneath. And they have a cinch at the bottom made out of just that default ribbon. Very basic pants, and there's a big trend online of people customizing these, turning the parkas into cool guy gear, like you saw in my last video. I picked these up for a $5. A lot of my gear I end up picking up for like 2-3 quid to a $5. If you are trying to track these down, they can be quite expensive, especially if you go through like these online sort of kitschy thrift shop sort of things where they're like, oh, we're a vintage emporium and we have all this cool stuff. They don't know what it's called, they just know that it's in trend, and they sell them for like 50-60 quid. You can find them a lot less expensive if you search around. So do your homework. Quick mouthful of this. Next on the list are the C103 French Special Forces trousers from Arktis. I picked these guys up in a sale along with the parka or smock that you saw in the previous video. And yeah, here they are. These were fairly inexpensive based on the normal price. I think they're about 60 to 70 quid. And I bought these to wear as over trousers for snow airsoft games and to do cool guys snow photo shoots. They're a really interesting design. Up top, like rather than well, first of all, the thing we'll point out is the reverse zipper on the fly, which is a bit strange. But I assume if you're going to wear them as over trousers, if you do that and then you pull your other one down, I don't know, might make it easier. But anyway, it's a backwards fly for some reason. And then up here, rather than a typical open up like this, you have the front is this big panel that kind of pulls forwards. It's a little bit strange, but they all just kind of open. Look at it, it's a weird design, but it means like you can, if you are wearing them as over trousers, you can get in there. There's a lot of space to get in, which is great. And just put these back together. And then they have these little nylon web cord and Velcro sort of waist cinch situation here, so you don't have belt loops, you don't have a belt at all on them. They're just, that's it. Then at the bottom, they have a zip that opens up pretty much all the way up to your knee, and it fans out a good 6 inches. So you can get them over boots, and you can get them, I guess, like, so basically you can put these on without taking your boots off, is what I mean. But then they've got these long, giant, heckin' chonking drawstrings at the bottom, which are ridiculous. So when I wear them, I do tie that up and get it out of the way, but I think I need a better solution. Pockets wise, these are standard hand warmer pockets. There are no back pockets, and you have your cargo pockets. There's some reinforcement to the knees, very, very tough reinforcement. It's actually Velcro closed at the bottom. And when you go inside, it has this, basically a thick foam in there, the kind of thing that you'd make like, oh, I thought you'd make out of it, but anyway, it makes your knees very sturdy. Again, at the bottom, there's another reinforced part just here on the ankle. I like to wear these when it snows. I'm getting up for work and I'm excited that there's snow outside. Put these on over my normal clothes, put my Tundra smock on, put my Vans MTE boots on, and then I'm out in that snow, digging shit up, having the best day ever. Interesting trousers. I guess they have a very unique sort of purpose to them. Not your everyday combat trouser. We're gonna take a look at the sort of more British gear now. Starting with something a little odd that I picked up off Vinted. These are your standard Soldier 95 Desert DPM. Oh, hang on, look at that. It's got a bit of a todger sticking out there. We'll pull that back in. Whoop. Zip that fly up. So these started off as standard Desert DPM trousers, and they've been overdyed in orange. I picked these up because at the time I was going to make a video doing a how to make a custom airsoft loadout just shopping on Vinted. That video is coming. These aren't going to be in it. I ended up not completing the video at that point. I'm going to start it again, making an entire loadout just based off shopping on Vinted with a budget. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, basically these are just, as you would expect, standard Soldier 95 trousers to be. They're just slightly more orange, so a bit more of a fashion piece. I mean, there might be some environments where they are effective, kind of like Omani Orange DPM. This is kind of like, Mum, can we have Omani DPM? We have Omani DPM at home. Omani DPM at home. Moving on, we have the trousers that match the shirt that I'm wearing. British Army PCS cut combat trouser. So these are an update to the Soldier 95 design with a bunch of modifications that bring them into a more modern fighting trouser. Some of which are the slanted pockets on the side, and they've got the mesh lined hand warmer pockets, so you can get a bit of airflow. Sweat can leave through the pocket, I guess. And then they also have these little zipper closed pockets behind it, which are just like your standard hand warmer pockets. So it's fabric on both sides. It's a pretty unique design that you do see kind of emulated in some more trousers that you're going to see further down the list. They are, as far as combat trousers go, slightly enhanced, but they're basically just your standard combat trousers. In fact, these are standard combat trousers these days. So they're nothing really to write home about it. Here in the UK, you can pick them up really, really inexpensively. It's not that exciting, but in other countries, like I know some people in the US who really like the MTP pattern rather than the multicam, and they really enjoy these kind of pantaloons. But in other countries like that, they do come in with a little bit more of a premium cost. I think you can pick these up from Americana Pipe Dream. So give them guys a check out. That's not me being sponsored by them, obviously. Anyway, moving on slightly, we have Another pair of PCS combat trousers, this time in Opfor DPM. These are one of my prize pieces in my collection. I fucking love the Opfor DPM camo, absolutely lovely. The quick TLDR, like I mentioned in the previous video where we went over the smock and the shirt. This was designed to be worn by British soldiers in the Opfor role, or opposing force role, when training in BATUS, British Army Training Unit Suffield, which is a place in Canada where they do a lot of the training. And to differentiate between the units that are doing the training, wearing the standard MTP gear, the Opfor would be wearing this blue DPM. It is super, super cool. It's kind of difficult to get hold of. When you do find them, these come in usually around the £70–75 mark, and I know there's some out on the market right now. GS Workwear Greys, they're on eBay. They've got a few pairs for sale right now at about £70–75 each. They're basically just the same trousers that we just saw on MTP, just in blue DPM. So they're 69% cooler. Moving on, we're going back in time slightly. Standard issue, back in the day. Soldier 95 trousers. These ones are a little bit cooler. They've got the DCTA tag in there somewhere. There we go. Which means they're earlier trials pieces, I guess. But yeah, nothing really to write home about. These were the standard issue for the British Army and all British forces for a long, long time. Well, from 1995 onwards, really, the Soldier 95 cut. Super simple design. You've got your waist cinch up here, zip fly, Canadian style buttons, 6 belt loops, hand warmer pockets that are just your basic bitch default hand warmer pockets, cargo pockets which are bellowed. They have the Canadian style slot buttons again. Oh, the back pocket is just your basic bitch back pocket. There's no flap over it. It's just a slotting pocket with a button. And then they have the cords at the bottom to tighten them up. So the fabric on these is really nice. It's such a soft fabric. A lot of Americans I've talked to when they're talking about Soldier 95 cut trousers say it's like wearing pajamas, and they kind of are, especially the desert ones, because it's kind of a little bit lighter. Definitely like wearing pajamas. I've always had a pair of Soldier 95 trousers in my collection, and you should too. Throwing them over there. We're going to go back a little bit further to an earlier tropical trouser. So this one predates Soldier 95. You can tell it's the buttons mainly and the cut of the trousers. These are what they call the Teabag fabric. So the fabric has this kind of weird mottled texture to it, kind of like a tea bag. So this is a much earlier pattern of DPM and would have been worn in more temperate climates. Essentially, it's very similar to the Soldier 95 ones. Hand warmer pockets, you got 6 belt loops. The belt loops are button closed. At the back, you have the waist cinch to make it a little bit tighter. Inside, I forgot to mention this on the Soldier 95, you have these strings as well. They have been cut down on these kind of waist cinches, so you don't actually have to wear a belt. You can pull these and tie them, make them a bit tighter. There's no back pocket. Standard cargo pockets, and then you've got the strings at the bottom, which are actually missing on these trousers. But yeah, so again, pick these ones up for relatively inexpensive. What happened with these ones, actually, I was looking for another pair of Dragon Supply Co Tropical DPM trousers for another project, and I saw, when I was searching for them, this eBay store. In fact, it wasn't an eBay store, it was an actual website. And the picture, it said Tropical DPM, and the picture was Dragon Supply Co Tropical DPM. These arrived when I bought them. I clicked the closest size that I could get. They were going to be combined into another pair of Gen 3, but slightly different. And yeah, when they arrived, they were just not Dragon Tropical. So I sent an email saying, "Hey, did you send out the wrong trousers to me?" They're like, "Oh, sorry, I did the wrong size." It's not that they're in the wrong sizes. They're the wrong trousers. They don't match the picture. And it was basically like, oh, the particular size, it's basically item may not match the picture. These are all tropical trousers. The different sizes obviously might be different patterns. It says, what size do you need? And we'll see if those trousers are in it. I'm like, well, what do you have those trousers that are in the picture? And like, oh, we don't have any of those in stock right now. Just the standard, the issue ones, which was a little bit sad, but I said, I'm not gonna send them back because I like them anyway. And now I've got to find another pair to match these. And these can be turned as well into Forbidden Cries, and they will be the most lightweight, breathable Forbidden Cries known to mankind. So we'll chuck them guys over there. Moving on to a slightly more heavier British trouser, pattern 68 combat trousers. These are, like I mentioned in my previous video where I talked about the DPM smock, I bought a pair of these with that DPM smock for 20 quid back in the day, and now they are significantly more expensive and harder to get a hold of. So these were issued around 1968, hence them pattern 68. And yeah, they're really interesting design. I love the pattern on the early DPM. It's so much nicer than the final iterations of DPM. It's such an aesthetically pleasing pattern. So basically these are supposed to be a lined combat trouser. Inside it's supposed to be a green fabric layer to make them sort of a little bit warmer, but this one, they've actually cut it out, the previous owners cut it out. That's quite a few stains on it and some damage, some buttons missing. But they were cheap, reassuringly cheap. Again, these came in at about $5, which is fucking ridiculous for these pants. The idea with this is I was going to buy another pair in reasonably shit condition and then send them over to USV Gear to be turned into 68 pattern Forbidden Cries, which is kind of a trend that I've got going on here. But the basic features of these: 5 belt loops, you've got the waist cinches like on all the others. You've got some attachment points here, I assume for braces. The same with all these button points here. I'm not really familiar with what all these are for, but I assume, based on the placement, they are for a brace to actually hold them up without the need of a belt. The belt loops, like those tropical ones, are secured by a button, so you can actually open it up to get your belt on and off if you need to. Back pocket, basic bitch top loading back pocket with a single button closure. Up front, you have a first field dressing pocket just here, so you'd have your first aid just there. Then you have your cargo pockets, which are super basic cargo pockets, button closed. There's no expansion bellows on them, and they're just, that's it. This one does actually have somebody's service number stenciled on the inside. And then hand warmer pockets. So these combat trousers, super great for cold weather, especially when they're lined. They are very, very warm. Oh yeah, also at the bottom, usually have the drawstring. It's actually been removed from these ones, but as they are eventually going to be turned into Forbidden Cries, it's not an issue. If you're a collector of DPM, I'd recommend picking up some 68 pattern trousers. They are kind of like the definitive early cut of DPM, and the pattern is so lovely. Definitely pick some up before they get ridiculously expensive as they get more and more rare. That's the big issue with collecting old surplus gear. You see this a lot with things like World War II gear, where it becomes reassuringly expensive to get original issued gear these days. And we're starting to see that with things like the 68 pattern and the 60 pattern and all these older DPM or camo trousers and issued gear. As time goes on, people use them for various things. A lot of people use old surplus gear for workwear. Painters and decorators may wear them and get them covered in paint and shit, and they get damaged and get used. Mechanics might have oil on them, all this sort of stuff. So you'll find that as time goes on, there are fewer and fewer and fewer of them, and they become harder to find. And some of the older patterns might become more sought after as time goes on, and people try to find them. There's fewer of them, prices go up. It's that supply and demand thing, isn't it? So if you are looking for early DPM stuff, now is probably a good time to jump into it and try and find some of those before they do get rarer and more expensive. The next thing we're going to take a look at is a fashion piece. Now I picked this one up from Vinted for about £2, and these trousers are all over Vinted, and they come in from about £2 to £10 depending on who's selling them. And at first glance, the photographs, the majority, in fact 60% of the time, every time, the photographs look like a really rare PECOC pattern. PECOC, which is the trials for British DPM, when they were moving from British DPM into a multi-terrain pattern, which is where this ended up coming from. There were a plethora of different flavors of DPM. Some of them are really sought after, and this one was kind of like an urbanized multi-terrain pattern, and it looks really cool. And I thought, based on the photos, that they had either managed to get hold of some of the fabric and made some clothes out of it, similar to what Boohoo did with the Old Man stuff, or they just replicated it. So I bought a pair thinking I'll get 2 pairs of this, send it off to USV Gear, have some really cool PECOC Forbidden Cries. And when it arrived, it turns out the light tan color is actually pink. So it's still a really cool pattern. I really like it, and I do still plan on having these turn into Forbidden Cries. But yeah, right now they're basically useless. They're not very well built pants. They're from ASOS. They've got your basic hand warmer pockets. Belt loops are odd. You got 4 belt loops and then this diagonal belt loop at the back. 2 rear pockets, no cargo pockets, no other exciting features. Zip fly, button up, that's it. But I think it could be a really cool pattern to have made in some Forbidden Cries and a PCS style smock or a PCS style shirt like this. So at some point in the future you might see that appear in my collection. We're going to move away from British and those fashion pieces now into more American cut and other interesting cuts of trousers. Starting off with US ABU, or Airman's Battle Dress Uniform, which is a blue-grey dominant tiger stripe pattern that's been digitized. There was a precursor to this. It was basically like a blue tiger stripe, which was fucking cool. This has the same sort of issue as UCP. It's a blue-grey dominant camo pattern, and it's not really effective in most places. But where it is effective is in people's wardrobes who want to be fashionable. This is super cool. I absolutely love this pattern. I bought these with the intention of, again, Forbidden Crying them, and they've ended up being in my, just stored away up in the loft for the longest time. They're an interesting cut, reinforced seat, they have a button fly, basic hand warmer pockets, they have a stretchy waist, 7 belt loops. They're just basic belt loops. You feel like an 1.5" belt in there. But double button closure back pockets. They have expandable cargo pockets. And then there is a ankle pocket, a wankle pocket down here on both legs. I guess for a field dressing or something similar. This one down here also has external pen pockets on it. So yeah, reinforced knees as well. I really love this pattern. It's such a cool pattern. And I don't think it gets the love that it deserves. Moving on, we have Desert Tiger. These are from a company called Bulle, which is a line made by Flecktarn.co.uk. For those of you who went around in like 2006, Flecktarn.co.uk was the surplus and gear dealer in the UK, predominantly dealing in Flecktarn, as the name might suggest, but they did a lot of interesting stuff, including these. So Bulle is their own line, and they've created a bunch of clothing and gear through them, including Desert Tiger Stripe. And this, at that point in time, was pretty much the only way to get hold of decent Desert Tiger Stripe gear. It's not official Tiger Stripe Products fabric, it is a reprint. These ones are heavily faded, as you can see, but they are an enhanced BDU cut. So talking again like the ABU pants, 7 belt loops. They have a button closure, zip fly. Inside they got these little drawstrings to actually tighten the waist up if you want. Standard hand warmer pockets, back pockets are basic bitch. You've got reinforcement to the ass and sort of just underneath the scrotal zone here. Cargo pockets, which are double bellowed, which is great. Then you have ankle pockets again. And finally, the knee area has a little opening just at the bottom, secured by Velcro, so you can put some knee pads or some kind of padding in there to protect your knees. So they're the kind of your basic BDU trousers, just with a couple of extra features. So the enhanced part of it came mainly in the shirt, where it was basically red modded straight out of the bag. But these were just the matching pants to those. I think they came in at about 20 something quid back in the day. I wore these plain airsoft for the longest time. Absolutely love them. They have stood the test of time, albeit very faded now. Moving on again to another BDU cut trouser. This is the Miltec Night Splinter or Blue Splinter pattern trouser. Another one that I'd love to have Forbidden Cried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 belt loops. You've got the metal waist cinches, which I really don't like. I used to get these a lot on like off-brand sort of DPM copy trousers back in the day as kids. I guess they may have been Miltec. Standard layout, you've got your 6 pocket design, hand wire pockets, 2 back pockets and cargo pockets. Then you have these cinches at the bottom. So the fabric on this, the pattern on this doesn't quite match the smock because they're printed on different fabric. This is a lot darker. The blue area here on the anorak is a slightly lighter grey. Played airsoft on these a few times. They're really nice. Wore them back in like 2015, 2016. It's like a fashion sort of thing. They were in my wardrobe. So yeah, they're nice enough trousers. Fairly cheap, and they don't feel very well made compared to some of the other BDU cut trousers, but they're perfectly serviceable. They do the job. Moving on, we have Flecktarn issued trousers with a little bit of difference. So I had these for a long while and wanted to do some modifications, some pantaloons, and basically tapered the legs in slightly, cut up some Pentagon BDUs. They had big holes in the knees, these trousers, so I wanted to repair them. So I basically repaired them with some coyote brown ripstop fabric, basically the lower legs from some Pentagon BDUs. So yeah, there we go. Something a little bit different. I actually tapered the legs in a little bit too much, so they're difficult to get over your boots. But yeah, interesting trousers. I wore these when I played at the Mill in like 2016, maybe 2017, somewhere around that time, with a 3-5 shirt, and I think the aesthetic looked really cool. Next, we're going to take a look at some Arid Italian trousers. This is a variant of Mimiteco Vegetata, Vegetata Mimiteco, which is an Italian pattern, which having some Italian heritage here, I have to have in my collection. It's the rules. I'm not sure what brand these are, but they are ACU style. So it's an 8-pocket design. You've got 2 hand warmer pockets, 2 ass pockets, double bellowed cargo pockets, and then your ankle pockets. So it's a very similar layout to the enhanced BDUs from Bulle. But these cargo pockets do actually have an elastic cinch, so you can cinch them back down when you've got shit in there and it stops them rattling about. Down at the ankles, you have your standard drawstrings. They're just basic bitch pants, really. It's a really nice pattern. You don't see it a lot on the field. What you can notice here, though, is it looks like the fabric from the seat here must have come from a different printing batch to the fabric for the actual trousers, because this appears to be more green dominant and this appears to be more tan dominant. But you know, it is what it is. I've only worn these to 1 airsoft game, maybe 2. Definitely to the old SOU cooler site. Rip in peace, SOU cooler. That site was fucking phenomenal. Next on the list is the Pentagon BDU 2.0. There should be a video in the Pants Party playlist. Go check that out for a more in-depth view of these pantaloons. These are the Pentagon BDU 2.0. These were my favorite cut of trousers for a long time. They are a much slimmer version of the BDU cut trouser with a bunch of extra features. They have 7 belt loops, which is kind of standard for BDU, but they are much thicker, better stitched on belt loops. For the closure, the waist closure, they have a zip fly. They have a reverse standard button just here, and then a pop button, and then the zip, which is a really kind of over-engineered way of closing your trousers. But yeah, so then you have your standard 6-pocket design. So you've got your hand warmer pocket here, ass pocket, and then cargo pockets, which are double bellowed. You have seat reinforcements, and then up front you have this condom pocket. So this is a great little pocket. I wear Pentagon Wolf trousers at work, and I keep my work ID in the condom pockets they have. It's great just for whipping it out to get through doors. It's right there. Handy little addition. So they're basically just a slimmer, more refined cut of BDU trousers. Absolutely really love these. These ones are Pentagon's take on multicam, which is called Pentacamo. It's a very, very nice pattern. You can see the multicam sort of lineage here, but it feels like it's almost tiger stripy with the way the pattern flows. Really nice, really aesthetic. I used to wear it with an MTP U-back shirt. They kind of, you can see obviously next to the MTP that it's similar colorways, so they kind of work together, but I would like to pick up a shirt in this, and you can, I was gonna say it'd be great to get these Forbidden Cried, but you can pick up Wolf combat trousers in Pentacamo, so that's probably the way I'd go, rather than buying another pair of these, sending them off to another country, having them turned into custom trousers. Just get the Wolf trousers in these, but I have BDU 2s in those. Moving on, another pair of BDU 2s in their take on US Woodland. It is a slightly oversized print. Color doesn't match actual US Woodland, but when paired with US Woodland gear, it does look fine. I usually wear this with a DCU shirt, and it's kind of cool having that mismatched camo aesthetic. So moving on, we have DCU, which I like to wear with a Woodland shirt. Again, to have that mismatched camo aesthetic. Same cut of trousers, exactly the same, just in that really aesthetic DCU. I lost one of the strings out of this, so I switched it out with a bootlace. And what I've done on these is, although they are already a really slim cut trouser, I wanted them to be a little bit slimmer. So I actually tapered the legs in just slightly. I've done that in all 3 pairs of these. Moving on, next on the list, we have a very, very cheap and cheerful pair of BDU trousers in a clone of MARPAT. So these have heavily faded. I bought these on my trip to Australia. We were over there and we were gonna go work on a farm. And me being the absolute fashionista that I was at the time, I didn't take anything suitable for working on a farm. I just had like a bunch of pairs of skinny jeans and that was it. So I figured it's probably a good idea to go and pick up some work pants, and I thought it'd be cool to get some Australian camo. Didn't have any, so I bought, well, I might pick up some MARPAT. They had a bunch of actual issue MARPAT trousers, but not in my size. So the only ones they had close to my size, these are still too big. This clone of it, it's a pretty accurate clone pattern wise, but the colorway is totally different. Yeah, so I wore these playing airsoft for a while with a Coyote Australian Army jacket. I don't wear them anymore, but I keep them in the collection because I bought them at an exciting time in my life, and it's kind of sentimental now to remember that chaotic friggin' time in Australia. Now we're gonna move into the more exciting trousers, the enhanced cut. So we're talking G2, G3, and variants thereof. There's a shit ton of these because I've been collecting them for a while to do the Pants Party playlist. The majority of these have their own videos in the Pants Party playlist, but currently at the time of the recording, a good chunk of them don't. So if you hit subscribe and follow that playlist, eventually you'll be able to see every pair of trousers in here have its own video. Starting off, we're going to take a look at Bulldog's concept of an enhanced combat trouser. Bulldog is a UK-based gear manufacturer, I guess, and one of the things they have built are these trousers. So when we were talking about the PCS trousers earlier, and we said they have zip-up cargo, or zip-up hand warmer pockets, and then a mesh-lined hand warmer pocket, these Bulldog Rogue Mark II trousers also have that option. One thing I will note is when I was recording the B-roll for these trousers, the hand warmer pocket on this side is not stitched in properly, and when my wife, who was modeling them, unzipped this, she just pulled the zip straight the fuck off, and I had to put the slider back on and do a lot of fanning about. So these aren't the best quality, they're not the worst quality, they are very much a low mid-tier trouser, but I bought them because obviously I'm doing the review series and they're in DPM, Dutch DPM as it turns out. So there you go, it's legit Dutch DPM fabric, ripstop. They're an interesting design. Obviously there's going to be a lot more information in the full video, but they're a very, very high-waisted trouser. They come like basically like granddad pants, like up to here. It's ridiculous. So bear that in mind if you're going to buy these. I would recommend going a size up. These are my actual waist size, but because they're just such an awkward, obnoxious pair of trousers to wear, so I'd definitely go for slightly bigger, mainly because of how they sit on you. They do get a bit snug around the old scrotal zone there, and if you're doing any lunges or anything, you might pop a testicle, and you don't need that going on. But basic quick rundown, hand warmer pockets are the same as a PCS style. They have this mesh area, and then they have the zip pocket just there. Also inside these are the knee pad height adjustments, because they're an enhanced combat trouser. They have the built-in knee pads. These are removable. They are textured kind of like G4 knee pads, but shape-wise, they are kind of similar to a G2 knee pad. Inside, obviously, they have the foam, which isn't as bendy. It doesn't have like that gap in it like the Cry knee pads do. Back pockets are zip closed with a flap. You have some seat reinforcement here. The cargo pockets, Velcro closed, slightly angled, nothing inside to write home about. They do have the same elastic concept as the ACU cut trousers, so you can cinch them closed. There is a single condom pocket on this side. It's quite wide and it has a piece of webbing fabric just there to actually reinforce it. There are no pass-through pockets like you get on Cry, no retention things inside the cargo pockets like you do on Cry. There are no ankle pockets like you get on Cry cut trousers. The knee pad adjustment cinches on the back have one on either side. It's adjustable by Velcro. And the ankle adjustment is kind of more similar to Pentagon Wolf, where they've got this guy that pulls out and actually attaches by Velcro. Really interesting combat trousers, and they're mostly inexpensive. I got these in a sale. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but it was significantly less than their current actual full price value. And honestly, I'd say if you're going to go for these trousers, go a size up and wait till they're in a sale. Moving on. Next we have TMC Gen 2 combat trousers in DCU. I picked these up from a Chinese website for 30 quid. I can't remember what the website's called, but they had a few other older gen trousers for fairly inexpensive, and I picked these up and they arrived pretty quick, so they were coming from China. These have their own video in the Pants Party playlist. I love DCU, it's a really nice pattern. These trousers are really cool, but there are some issues with them that bug me. But I do go over them in detail in the review video, so check that out. It's well worth a watch. Moving on to the Emerson Gear G3s. Here's my first pair of Emerson G3s in Pencott Sanstorm. So these are early Emerson G3s and they have no stretch panels as you would expect on your standard issue sort of G3 trouser. I have had issues with these, as you can see. They just friggin' snapped. But these are really nice, really solidly built trousers. The pattern's really cool, Pencott. I referenced this in a video that's coming up not too long in the future now on sci-fi camo patterns. So keep your eye out for that. But it's a really, really nice pattern. Absolutely love this one. If you're gonna buy Emerson Gear combat trousers, make sure you buy the newer gen, which you're gonna see in a second, which have significantly better stitching. Also, they have the stretch panels, which are missing from this pair. Next up, we have Emerson Gear Blue Label. So these are the newer Emerson Gear trousers, which are significantly better quality in terms of stitching, design, and durability than the older versions. As you can see, these guys are a lot more rigid now. They haven't just randomly snapped on me. These are, as you can see, in AOR 1, the Naval Special Warfare pattern. I bought these because we were going to a Milsim game playing on Tan Team, and the dudes I was rolling with all wearing this pattern, so I had to buy these to join in with the cool kids. They came as a set for 60 something quid. G3 cut trousers with a G3 cut U-back shirt. But I also wanted a field shirt, so I bought a Desert MARPAT field shirt to go with them. The pattern is slightly different, but it's gonna blend fine under like my chest rake and whatnot. Moving on, we're gonna take a look at my first pair here of TMC combat trousers. John Wayne Dense Tiger Stripe, beautiful pattern. It was totally on trend at one point recently. Yeah, I bought this pair when the Cry Tactical Distributors Tiger Stripe sort of crossover happened, just so I could look like one of the cool kids. Obviously theirs is a different Tiger Stripe pattern with black stretch panels. So yeah, really nice trousers. I won't go into too much detail on them because there is a full video on these, so definitely go and check that out in the Pants Party playlist. Tiger Stripe is one of my favorite patterns. It sits underneath DPM, but Tiger Stripe is just fucking lovely. Next on the list, Flash Force Industries Desert Tiger Stripe G3s. These came in just before Desert Tiger Stripe really kicked off and went on to trend. And it's a much closer pattern than the Bulle trousers to actual Tiger Stripe products. It's basically, when it's next to it, the only difference that you can see is it doesn't have the TSP logo in there. I'd ummed and ahed about buying these for a while because it was 130 quid, I think, for the trousers and shirt. And by the time I'd come to buy it, they only had medium, and I'm a hobbit. So these are a 32 waist, 32 leg. So as you can see, I've had to cinch this bad boy in as far as it goes. And the legs I actually tapered in on the sewing machine to make them slimmer. So when I wear these, they are quite baggy, but still beautiful pattern, really nice trousers. These also have their own video on the Pants Party playlist, definitely worth taking a look. Moving on is a pair of trousers that don't yet have a video on the Pants Party playlist, but they're gonna do. Next up is the OG of Gen 3 combat trousers. The combat trousers that all Gen 3 combat trouser clones are comparing themselves to. The trousers that are being emulated when you buy some Emerson or some TMC or some Flash Force, whatever. These are Cry Precision's Gen 3 combat trouser. So I picked these up used for £130. You can find these through there's a bunch of groups on Facebook, like the Cry Precision used and sales groups, and they sell Gucci gear. These were verified as being legit, which is something that's good about that group, because people can actually verify that they are actually what they say they are, not just some Emerson or TMC that have had Cry tags stitched onto them, which has been known to happen. So they're going to get their own video in the Pants Party playlist. Obviously they have to, because the concept of the Pants Party playlist is from the shittest AliExpress, Wish.com tier combat trousers up to Cry Precision, to see where everything stands in between and which are worth buying. So eventually these are going to be on there. And yeah, so Cry Precision multicam. The trousers are a ripstop, and then the stretch fabric is also in multicam, which is pretty cool. These are the only trousers I've got where the stretch fabric is actually in the same pattern as the trousers themselves. I'm not going to speak too much on these right now. They are fucking lovely to wear. The fabric feels so nice. But yeah, throwing them over there now. I own some Cries. You know, they always say, like, how do you know somebody owns Cry Precision trousers? I fucking tell you. I own some Cries, dude. Moving on. We're going now into the Forbidden Cry territory. Starting with the OG of Forbidden Cries, Roman Kermas or Kermas gear. Here I've got 5 Flecktarn Forbidden Cries. So the fabric, it feels exactly like issue Flecktarn fabric. When you compare it to the trousers that I've got, the parka that I've got or whatever, it feels exactly on point. So I have no doubt that this is legit fabric. The stretch panels are a very strange feeling fabric, but really nicely put together. So a couple of things that are a bit weird with this is the placement of the belt loops. And did I have an issue with the hand warmer pockets on these, or was it just the belt loops placed? Yeah, the belt loops were placed over the hand warmer pocket instead of where they should be, like over here, which is just a one-off sort of thing. But yeah, these I picked up, I think these were 130 from Roman. Yeah, if you want some Forbidden Cries, definitely take a look at Roman's group, Replica Lindenhorf Tactic, or you can take a look at Roman Kermas or Kermas Gear on Instagram. His work is on point. It is stitch for stitch wise on point with Cry Precisions, especially when you're using some official, like, legit fabric. Really incredible work. It's just a long turnaround time. So if you can wait a couple of months to get your trousers, go that way. They're absolutely fantastic. The other option, which we touched on in the last video, is USV Gear, another Ukrainian Forbidden Cry or clothing manufacturer, and they also do G3 cut trousers. Starting off here with these that I picked up from a while back. The price point is basically identical to Roman Kermas. The sewing, the quality, everything is exactly the same. These are on point. Absolutely fantastic stitching and craftsmanship on these trousers. Again, here you'll see these are Desert Night Grid. So it's a really cool pattern. Absolutely love this pattern. And yeah, I had these ones made for me. The Flecktarn ones you just saw, Roman had put them up listed saying these, it basically listed a bunch saying, These are made right now, ready to go, and they were 30 waist, 30 leg, and I'm like, that's close to a 28-30, that's fine, that'll fit me. Just put a belt on there, everything will be kosher. So I bought those and they fit fine. These I had made, I did actually have them done in a 30 waist, 30 leg. So I figured just give it a bit of extra wiggle room in there rather than it being exactly my waist size. You can cinch them in, get a belt on there. So yeah, Desert Night Grid, there's not much more to say about that. Moving on, from the standard cut of G3 trousers, I approached USV Gear and said, if I sent you 2 pairs of combat trousers, could you turn them into a single pair of G3 cut trousers, but with some modifications? She said yes. So here are my Forbidden Cries. This is what I call the Magaz cut. There's videos of these in the Pants Party playlist as well. So the main features that I added are the twin condom pockets, one on either side. So these are great for the ID card. I use these pockets every day. And I removed the ankle pockets. Inside this pocket here, I removed the knee pad height adjustment. Inside the cargo pocket here, rather than having that elastic loop, I had 2 basically stretch panel magazine pouches added. And that's basically it. That's my take on the G3 trouser. And I've got another pair in the works right now that are being made as we speak. So these, basically, you have to send 2 pairs of donor trousers, which in this case are Dragon Supply Co. Tropical DPM issued well, not issued, but they're actual trousers. They'll disassemble them and build it out of it, and then it costs £80 in labour, I guess, on top of that. So I have those guys, and then I have the Oman DPM trousers as well, exactly the same cut. These are made from 2 pairs of Boohoo's combat trousers, which, as we've speculated earlier, is legit Oman DPM fabric. So there we go. Moving on. My pal's falling over now. There's only 2 more pairs on the table now. So TMC, again, these are the blue tiger stripe. It's John Wayne Dent's tiger stripe, but there have been some examples of JWD tiger stripe over the years fading into this lovely sort of blue. And TMC just basically made some trousers like this. It's kind of like a purpley blue. The stretch fabric is blue as well. Really love these trousers. They look super freaking cool. I haven't worn them in a long time, but there they are. John Wayne Dent's blue. Throw them guys over there. And then finally, last on the table are the Novrich Textiles Kreuzadder or Crossadder camouflage pattern. So these are OEM'd by TMC. And this pattern was designed in-house at Novrich. It's a really cool pattern. So it's basically tiger stripe, but they've used vectorized images of leaves, digitized them, added them into the tiger stripe and layered it. So it's more of a natural pattern. And you can see there's no blacks in it, because there's no blacks in nature. So they've removed all that and they've just added darker browns and a variety of different textures and colors. And I'm just trying to find an example of it on here somewhere. I know there is one there. It actually has the Kreuzadder name in the pattern as well. And then it also has these raindrops. It's a super cool pattern. I really like it. And this was from the first batch that they released. As soon as they said they were doing it, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm fucking having a pair of them. I got the full set. So you got, well, not the full set, but a pair of these and a U-back shirt. Really nice camo pattern, really well made because it's the later TMC stuff. So yeah, not quite on there with Cry, but still fairly high up there in the list. Throw them over there and let's take a moment breather. That's all my camo pants, I think. There's probably something else knocking about somewhere that I've missed, and then I'm gonna see later on and go, oh shit, hang on, there is right now. Look, if I just put this table here, stand up like this. I'm wearing the Viper Elite Gen 2 combat trousers. There's a full video of these on the channel already in the Pants Party playlist. So these are made by Viper Tactical, and they are in Viper Tactical's take on Multicam Black, which is VCam Black. Let's go off this table now before I break it. Oh my god. Again, there's a full video on the playlist, so go and check it out if you haven't seen it already. There we go. That's my trouser collection. Special guest. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more content like this, obviously at the end, the Pants Party playlist video is going to be on screen. Below that is going to be a playlist that shows off videos just like this. In that playlist, eventually, there are going to be several videos. The original one, which shows off all the shirts and smocks and things. This video, talking about pantaloons. There's going to be another video coming, which is various items that didn't quite fit. So we're talking hats and things like the Cierzo shirt and shoes, other gear, bags, stuff that is camo related is in the collection, but didn't fit into one of these two videos. Then we're going to do a fourth one just on U-back shirts. It's going to be a lot shorter because there's not quite as many, but I have a few knocking about that need obviously a video. Then there's going to be an update video that is stuff that should have gone into the previous video that arrived after it. Then we'll do a final one, well, not necessarily a final one, but a final big one of the current collection, which will just be plate carriers and vests, things like that. So load carrying equipment and body armor, because there's a bunch of that needs covering as well. Then moving forward with this series, every couple of months when the collection has evolved, new things have arrived and stuff like that, I will bring that stuff together, do one of these videos and talk about the pieces that have arrived in the collection over that period of time. So if you want to see that kind of thing, if you want to see that kind of content, jump on board, hit subscribe, and we'll keep creating this cool content. If you are here for the other stuff, airsoft, the reviews, the gun reviews, it's all still going to happen. I'm just spreading out the kind of content I can create. If you want to support the channel like these fucking rad dudes do, or have done over the past few years, go over to patreon.com/cbmpc and help out the channel. If you don't want to support monetarily, please hit like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with other camouflage enthusiasts. For now, I'm Magaz, and remember kids, the air may be soft, but our balls are hard. Check these two playlists that are good to go right now. You will have a good time. I've got to go and put all this away now.